I lied about a business trip to Paris. My husband handed me the bill at the airport. I thought he gave me an upgrade. He gave me a subpoena. They say you never truly know the person you sleep next to. I thought that applied to Simon. I thought he didn't know me. I thought he couldn't see past my carefully curated smile, my perfectly organized calendar, and the mask of the dutiful wife I wore every time I walked through our front door. I looked at my husband and saw a sweet, simple systems engineer who fixed Wi-Fi routers, played video games, and was grateful that a woman like me, ambitious, stylish, vibrant, had settled for a guy like him. I didn't realize that while I was playing checkers, Simon was playing 4D chess. And he was 10 moves ahead before I even touched a piece. My name is Becca Hayes. I am 30 years old. Until 48 hours ago, I was the regional marketing director for a global fashion brand. I had a corner office, a corporate expense account, and a life that looked perfect on Instagram. Until 48 hours ago, I was a wife. Now I am a warning label. My husband, Simon Hayes, is 34. He works in cybersecurity infrastructure. To be honest, I never really understood what he did, and I never cared to ask. He sat in his home office, a room he affectionately called the server farm, surrounded by blinking blue lights, humming cooling fans, and 3 monitors of scrolling code that looked like the Matrix. He was safe. He was reliable. He remembered anniversaries. He did the taxes early. He made sure the car had oil and the smoke detectors had batteries. He was boring. I know how that sounds. I sound like a cliché. The ungrateful wife who takes stability for granted. But you have to understand the stagnation. Living with Simon was like living in a user manual. Everything was logical. Everything was optimized. There was no passion. There was no chaos. I craved chaos. I craved the fire. I wanted to feel like I was the main character in a movie, not just the administrative assistant in a documentary about efficient household management. And I found that fire in Julian Cross. Julian was my CEO. He was 45, silver fox handsome, and wore Italian suits that cost more than Simon's entire wardrobe. He didn't smell like food paste and laundry detergent. He smelled of sandalwood, expensive scotch, and raw power. We started sleeping together 6 months ago. It started innocently enough, or as innocently as these things can. Late nights at the office preparing for the Q3 launch. Strategy meetings that turned into dinners at Lou Bernardin, where the company paid for $200 bottles of wine. Dinners that turned into lingering glances in the elevator, the air thick with tension. And then, the inevitable. A rainy Tuesday. A hotel key card slid across a table. A breathless night at the Four Seasons. Julian made me feel alive. He made me feel dangerous. He talked about art, and travel, and disrupting the market. He talked about me like I was a muse, not a partner. I wanted both. I wanted the safety of Simon's house, the paid-off mortgage, the heated floors, and the thrill of Julian's bed. I thought I could have it all. I thought I was smart enough to keep the world separate. I compartmentalized my life like a perfectly organized closet. Then came the Paris plan. It was a Tuesday afternoon. Julian called me into his office. He closed the blinds. The city skyline loomed behind him. Fashion Week is coming up, he whispered, leaning against his mahogany desk. His eyes were dark and hungry. I'm sending the creative team. But I want you there, Becca. In the Imperial Suite with me. The Ritz. 10 days. No husband. No board members. Just us. We can walk the Seine at midnight. The Imperial Suite. The Ritz Paris. It was the ultimate fantasy. It was the kind of trip Simon would never take. Simon liked staycations and hiking trips. "I can't," I whispered, though I was already calculating the lies in my head. "Simon, he'll ask questions. 10 days is a long time." "Tell him it's mandatory," Julian said, grinning that shark-like grin. "Tell him it's a career-making opportunity. Tell him the board requested you personally. Tell him whatever you want. Just be on that plane." I went home that night and lied to Simon's face. And it was terrifyingly, exhilaratingly easy. "Babe. Big news." I chirped, walking into the kitchen and pouring myself a large glass of Pinot Noir. "I have to go to Paris for Fashion Week. Julian wants me to lead the on-site activation. It's a huge opportunity. The team is relying on me." Simon was at the stove, stirring risotto. He was wearing his favorite faded hoodie. He didn't even look up. "That's great, Becca," he said in his calm, steady voice. "When do you leave?" "Next Tuesday," I said, taking a long sip of wine to settle my nerves. "I'll be gone for 10 days. The schedule is packed. Shows, dinners, networking. I'll barely have time to breathe." "Okay," he said. "I'll make sure the cat is fed. Do you need me to pick up anything from the dry cleaners?" I felt a spike of contempt for him. How could he be so blind? I was standing there, glowing with the thrill of an illicit affair, practically vibrating with guilt and excitement, and he was worried about the cat and the dry cleaning. He trusted me so completely it was almost insulting. It made me feel like I was getting away with murder. I looked at him and thought, you have no idea who I really am. I spent the next week preparing. I was living a double life, and I was good at it. I went shopping on my lunch breaks. I bought new lingerie, black La Perla lace, red silk kimonos, sheer bodysuits, things I would never, ever wear for Simon. I bought a dress that was backless and dangerous. I hid the bags in the trunk of my car, buried under yoga mats, just in case he looked. I texted Julian constantly. He has no idea. He's such a sweet, boring idiot. He's actually offered to drive me to the airport. Julian, perfect. I booked the suite. Champagne on ice. Can't wait to unwrap you. Make sure you pack that red thing you told me about. I didn't realize that my phone, my iPhone that I thought was my private, locked diary, was the leak. See, Simon had built our home network. He called it the Fortress. He was obsessed with data preservation and network security. Years ago, he set up a local media server to automatically back up our phones whenever we connected to the home Wi-Fi. I remember the day he installed it. He was so proud. It's so we never lose memories, Becca, he had told me, pointing to the blinking lights in the server rack. It does a localized dump every time you walk in the door. If you drop your phone in the toilet, or if iCloud gets hacked, we still have everything right here. Encrypted and safe. I had rolled my eyes. Okay, nerd, I had laughed. Just don't slow down the Netflix. I thought it was a nerdy, paranoid hobby. I called it his virginity protection system. I didn't realize it was a wiretap. Every time I walked through the front door, my phone handshake connected to the Wi-Fi. And in the background, silent and invisible, it synced. Every photo I took of my new outfits in the dressing room mirror. Every screenshot of the hotel confirmation Julian sent me. Every saved photo of Julian that I kept in a hidden folder. Every text message backup. It was all being copied, packet by packet, to a hard drive in Simon's office. While I was sleeping, dreaming of croissants in Julian's hands, Simon was downstairs, sitting in the glow of his monitors, scrolling through the evidence of his own betrayal. He was watching his marriage disintegrate in 4K resolution. On the morning of the flight, I was buzzing. I couldn't sit still. I packed my business clothes on the top layer of my suitcase, blazers, sensible heels, just in case Simon saw. But underneath, buried deep, was the lingerie. The toys. The perfume Simon hated but Julian loved. Simon was surprisingly helpful. He carried my heavy bags to the car. He made me a travel coffee in my favorite mug. He checked the traffic report to JFK. "You seem happy," he said as we drove onto the highway. He glanced at me. His face was unreadable. "Just excited for work," I lied, checking my reflection in the visor mirror. I applied a little extra lipstick. A shade called Scandal. It was for Julian, not Simon. "I'm glad," Simon said. He had a strange half-smile on his face. A look I couldn't quite place. "You deserve a break, Becca. You've been working so hard. You've been distracted lately." "Just focused on the Q3 goals," I said dismissively. "You know how Julian is. He demands perfection." "I'm sure he does," Simon said. "I'm sure he has very high standards." The drive was agonizing. Every minute felt like an hour. I just wanted to be at the airport. I just wanted to be free. "So, who else is going?" Simon asked casually. "Oh, just the creative team," I lied smoothly. "Sarah, Mike, the interns. It's going to be a zoo." "Right," Simon said. "Sarah. How is she? I haven't seen her in a while." "She's fine," I said. "Stressed. You know Sarah." I was lying effortlessly. Sarah wasn't going. Sarah had quit 3 months ago. Simon knew that. I had forgotten that I told him. He didn't correct me. He just nodded. He was giving me rope. We pulled up to the Delta terminal. The departure sign loomed overhead. It looked like the gateway to my new life. "You don't have to park," I said quickly. Julian was meeting me in the Delta Sky Club. I didn't want to risk an awkward run-in. "Just drop me at the curb. I'll be fine." "Nonsense," Simon said, putting the car in park. "I want to see you off properly. I want to carry your bags to security. It's the least I can do." I stifled a sigh. He was so clingy. So devoted. It was pathetic. He walked me to the TSA pre-check line. I was checking my watch, eager to be gone. "Okay, this is me," I said, turning to him. "I have to run. Boarding soon." "Wait," Simon said. "I have a surprise for you." He reached into the inside pocket of his jacket. He pulled out a thick, shimmering gold envelope. It was heavy cardstock, sealed with a red wax stamp. It looked incredibly expensive. "What is this?" I asked, my greed instantly piqued. Simon wasn't usually a gift giver. He usually gave me iTunes gift cards or external hard drives. "I know you've been stressed," Simon said softly. He stepped closer, fixing my collar. "And I know flying commercial is a drag, even for business. I know how much you wanted this trip to be special." My heart raced. First class? Did he upgrade my seat? A spa voucher for the Reds? Cash? "I pulled some strings," Simon continued. "I cashed in some favors. I wanted to give you the experience you deserve." "OMG, Simon," I smiled. For a second, I felt a twinge of guilt. He was trying so hard. But the guilt was quickly washed away by the anticipation of luxury. "Don't open it yet," he said, putting his hand over mine as I reached for the seal. Wait until you get to the Sky Club. Open it, with the team. With Julian. It's a surprise upgrade. It will change your entire trip. You're the best, I said. I kissed him. It was a fake, hollow kiss. My lips touched his, but my mind was already drinking champagne in Paris. Enjoy the upgrade, Becca, Simon said. His voice was flat. Dead. I watched him walk away. He didn't look back. He didn't wave. He just walked to the exit, got in his sensible sedan, and drove away. I rushed through security. I practically ran to the Delta Sky Club. I scanned my boarding pass and walked into the lounge. It smelled of coffee and expensive luggage. Julian was waiting for me in a corner booth, looking handsome in a navy blazer, open collar. He had 2 glasses of champagne ready. He looked like the cover of a magazine. You made it, he grinned, standing up to kiss me on the cheek. I made it, I said, sliding into the leather booth, breathless. And look. My idiot husband gave me a going-away present. He thinks it's an upgrade. Julian laughed. A rich, throaty laugh. Let's see what the IT guy got you. Maybe a Starbucks gift card? Or a new mouse pad? He said he pulled strings, I giggled. Maybe he bought us lounge passes? Little does he know. I tore open the wax seal on the gold envelope. I reached inside. There were no tickets. There was no cash. There were no gift cards. There were 3 stacks of paper. I pulled out the first one. It was legal-sized. Heavy bond paper. Petition for dissolution of marriage. State of New York. Petitioner, Simon Hayes. Respondent, Rebecca Hayes. Grounds, adultery. My heart stopped. The sound of the lounge, the clinking glasses, the announcements, faded into a high-pitched ringing in my ears. What is that? Julian asked, frowning. He leaned over. Is that legal paperwork? I couldn't speak. I pulled out the second stack. It was a printout. Color copies. It was a chat log. Me, he has no idea. He's such a sweet, boring idiot. Julian, can't wait to unwrap you. Booked the Imperial Suite. Me, I bought that red thing you like. Hiding it from Simon. And photos. The selfie I took in the dressing room in the red lingerie. The screenshot of the Ritz confirmation email. The metadata from the photo showing the location, Julian's office. He knows, I whispered. My voice sounded like it was coming from a stranger. Julian, he knows everything. He has the logs. How? Julian hissed, looking around the lounge nervously. You said he was clueless. You said he was a tech moron. No, I gasped, the realization hitting me like a physical blow. I said he was boring. I never said he was stupid. The server. The damn backup server. I pulled out the third document. It was a copy of an email. From Simon Hayes, anonymous whistleblower. To the Board of Directors, Apex Fashion Group. CC, Chief Financial Officer, VP of Human Resources, General Counsel. Subject, CEO embezzlement of company funds for personal travel. My blood ran cold. I felt the champagne threaten to come back up. I read the attachment list at the bottom of the email. Exhibit A, Ritz Paris invoice, $12,000, paid via corporate Amex. Exhibit B, Delta One tickets, $8,000, paid via corporate expense account. Exhibit C, lingerie purchase, $400, categorized as office supplies on expense report. Oh my God, I said, shoving the paper at Julian. Julian, look at this. Julian snatched the paper. His face went gray. His tan evaporated. He sent this to the board? Julian's voice was a squeak. When? I looked at the timestamp on the email printout. Sent, today, 9 a.m. Right when Simon dropped me off. Right when he kissed me goodbye. Suddenly, Julian's phone started ringing. It wasn't a normal ring. It was the frantic, incessant ringing of a crisis. He looked at the screen. Chairman of the board. Then mine rang. HR director. Then his rang again. CFO. Julian stared at his phone like it was a bomb. He didn't answer. They cancelled my card, he whispered, staring at a notification that just popped up. My corporate card. It's locked. Contact administrator. My phone buzzed. A text from Simon. Simon, enjoy the upgrade, Becca. You wanted excitement? You got it. You're single. You're unemployed. And you're stranded. Simon, by the way, I cancelled your return ticket. I figured Julian could pay for it. Oh wait. He can't. I froze the joint account too. Fraud protection. You know how paranoid I am. He blew us up, Julian shouted, standing up. He blew the whole thing up. People in the lounge were staring now. The quiet elegance was broken. Two large men in dark suits walked into the lounge. They weren't airline staff. They were wearing earpieces. They walked straight to our booth. Mr. Julian Cross, one of them said. Yes? Julian stammered, trying to regain his composure. I'm the CEO of Apex. Who are you? We are private security contracted by the board of Apex, the man said. We've been instructed to retrieve all company property immediately. That includes your laptop, your phone, and your corporate card. You can't do this. Julian shouted. I'm flying to Paris. Your tickets have been voided by the company, sir, the guard said. And you are effectively suspended pending an investigation into embezzlement. You need to come with us. Becca. Julian grabbed my arm. Tell them. Tell them it's a business trip. I couldn't move. I sat there, frozen. Ma'am, the guard said to me. If you are Ms. Hayes, your employment has also been terminated effective immediately. We will need your badge. I reached into my purse. I handed him my badge. I watched them escort Julian away. He was shouting, looking like a cornered rat. The powerful CEO was gone. He was just a thief in a nice suit. I was left alone in the booth. I looked at the table. The divorce papers. The text logs. The whistleblower email. And the gold envelope, ripped open and empty. I tried to call Simon. Call failed. Number blocked. I tried to log into our bank account to transfer money for a hotel room. Access denied. Account frozen, suspicious activity. I was stranded at JFK. I had a bag full of lingerie, no husband, no job, and no way home. I looked around the lounge. The luxury felt mocking now. The free champagne tasted like vinegar. I realized then that Simon wasn't boring. He was terrifying. He had watched me lie to him for weeks. He had watched the photos sink. He had watched the money move. He had helped me pack my bags. He had driven me to my own execution. And he did it all without raising his voice. He gave me exactly what I wanted, a surprise that changed my life. I walked out of the terminal. I sat on the curb at the arrivals pickup, surrounded by people hugging their loved ones. I took a cab to my sister's house, praying she would pay the fare when I got there. That was yesterday. Today, the news broke. Fashion CEO ousted in expense scandal. My name wasn't in the headline, but it was in the article. My reputation is nuclear. No one in the industry will hire me. I'm sleeping on my sister's couch. Simon kept the house. Simon kept the dog. Simon kept the server. I wanted an upgrade. I got a hard reset. And honestly, as I look at the divorce papers on the coffee table, I realized I didn't lose a boring husband. I lost the only person who was smart enough to handle me. And I underestimated him until the very last second. #the upgrade.